All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Ready to set data. We're on a roll. We're staying
I'm
on
on a
track this
roll. I
time.
already did mute
Squirrel.
my tab. There we go.
Oh, all right. Cut. Let's do it again, guys. Editor, get that. So we're not chasing squirrels and getting off track. We're talking about data, and this time we're talking about our history, right? How we got to where we are today. So we have. I think I'm still hearing an echo. Should I wait a
Yeah, I don't
second?
know. Is that your
Yeah, I
side?
am too.
It says it's coming from your side, Lee.
Yeah, I'm trying to get there to figure out. Here, let me just do this.
Real-time troubleshooting. Boom.
Try turning it off and turning it back on again.
Call IT.
Why am I still hearing an echo? Like, there's.
Do you
So
have the
did
tab
you mute the
open?
tab? This is the content that people really want, especially people on YouTube. Hi, YouTube.
Do you have?
You want me this on YouTube?
I fixed it now.
Like, bring up the screen and bring it back.
I
Okay.
finally
John's is not
found.
very
I
echo.
had like 3 browsers open, is the problem. And so. And all 3 browsers had like 50 tabs. And I thought I had closed everything I needed to close, except I didn't. So I found it. We're good now.
Okay, good.
John agrees that we're good to go. Do you want to bring up the screen and bring it back down? No, we're fine.
I know, you
Derailed
just
as
be like,
usual.
do we do the Oh no. Okay, that was a quick one. The yeah. So how you guys doing? Another rainy week here in the good old Saint of
Rainy,
Louis.
thundering. The gas line broke twice. The water main broke, and one of the gas leaks was during a thunderstorm. Which I don't know if that's really a thing or not, but that was it seems like a thing that I should be worried about.
I would think
So it's been an interesting
maybe.
week.
Yeah. Well, I guess like if a lightning struck a tree nearby or something. I don't know. Maybe it would make it more dangerous.
Those
Yeah,
of you
it's
who don't know,
it's
on the interwebs nearby us, in a nearby town, a house exploded.
Near me.
Because near you, yeah.
in between all of us.
Very
I feel
near
like
me.
yeah.
Oh, Dunn says I'm not great at reading lips. Are we muted or something? Why is he saying that? I'm worried.
I mean, I hear everything, but
Okay, I'm getting worried. Dunn, can you not hear us? It's like
Possible. I mean, he might that just might be a thing that he wanted us to know as well. You know.
oh, that's true.
volume fine on my end from Novus 117.
Thank you, Novus. It's probably
Thanks,
probably
Novus.
Don's. It's usually Don's. Yeah, it's fair. Old Doonsay.
Cool. Let's see. Anyway,
Yes, so we've been having end of the world type stuff around the Midwest, and we're kind of smack dab in the middle of it, so it's always fun.
yeah, was the major flooding after our last stream? Was the like actual super flood?
Today's
So we thought we messed up, but Dunce hit dude by accident.
yeah, that's today's tip from Dunce. Today's tech tip: hitting M will mute a stream. There
Good
you
to
go.
know.
Actually, I didn't know that, so I don't know. Oh, that's funny. But yeah, so we're all still around, still have property, so that's a plus from a lot of people around us. So
Yeah.
once again, we thought last week was gonna be like the somber week, and then it just kept going. So like this whole week has just been rough around here.
Hey, we have some followers.
Hey, howdy.
Recent followers, yeah.
Hello. Got
very cool. Happy to see you.
Liam.
Of course, they
Liam?
joined during the stream that were just completely like the fuddle at the beginning, right?
That's most
us.
of them. Don't even pretend. But yeah, no, we're just getting into the stream here. We're talking about how the end of the world over here in St. Louis and just recovering through it. So everything's going good here at least. And then yeah, so last week we went on a journey with Lee over how he became the way he is professionally.
Really?
Oh,
okay.
Professionally. we don't have time to go into the
Well, you see, the
How-
70s were that was a crazy decade. Okay, so
The 70s. Listen,
Oh man. I mean,
feeling the love.
you know. This week we're gonna have that's gonna be me. So it's gonna go through my kind of journey to where I am in IT. But yeah, for those who don't know, I am O'Grady, software engineer. We have Lee Markham, database and admin, and then we have Anthony as the data engineer. And
presenting.
you can check us out on. Well, apparently that's our Twitter, Twitches. Or is that our? No, that's our Twitters. Yeah.
That's
You can check out the
Twitter.
Twitters on there, and keep up to date with anything going on, and we'll also
We
the
also
Ready
have a
Set Data
Discord.
has a Twitter that I need to add to that because we finally created one for the channel, and then also the Discord for anybody that wants to hang out. You can do the Discord command and get that link. But yeah, for the most part, we're pretty chill stream, and we just bullshit most of the time, and then have a general consensus of where we're kind of going towards. Usually.
We're a lot like a D&D party or an episode of Star Trek, right? We have a plan when we start out on our mission, but usually gets derailed. The next thing you know, someone's starting a potato farm.
Yes.
So that's us. So
Two of us are wearing red
journey-
shirts.
you guys are in trouble, man.
Damn it. Okay. Anyway, journey to where I am. Yeah, so I think that last week we did have it was cool to be able to get that insight on Lee. And hopefully you guys feel free to ask questions as I go on, and we'll keep an open discussion.
Yes, we love interaction from the chat. So that
Yep.
100% do that. If we don't answer right away, we probably will, or just ping us again. And if you're on YouTube, reach out on all the social media stuff that O'Grady already shared.
Yep. So so that being said, we can get a jump on in. So I was born at an incredibly young age. And
The 70s was a weird decade.
no, so really my first, I guess, putting your toes into IT is you really just like when I was growing up, and I'm assuming you guys were also like this, just like being the creative type, like taking stuff apart or trying to figure out how stuff works.
To some degree, yes.
Yeah, dangerously.
So a lot of times dangerously, for me.
I may have made a flamethrower.
Yeah, the potato guns were a big thing. Make those and
For
Yeah.
me, it was my bike.
or yeah.
I would
Well,
take-
either way, is something.
Yeah.
Figuring out how things, just the universe
Yes,
works
absolutely.
in general. Yeah.
Yep.
And it's not an inherent trait for everybody. There's some people are more curious than others. It's just, how it is. So I've always been that way. I always got in trouble for like taking apart stereos and TVs and putting them back together, but they didn't always work when I put them back together. So I was young. As I got older,
Right.
things started working when I put them back together.
Putting it back together was the hard part.
Progress.
Yes, and you'd always have the extra parts, and I'm like, well, if everything works, why are there extra parts? Later on in my life, I then learned why there's parts that you need for long-term use as opposed to just short-term use.
Or keeping you from electrocuting yourself later.
Or yeah, it might have been a piece grounding something. It's like, oh yeah. But yeah, so always kind of been like that. Kind of nerdy kid, honestly, growing up. Not really a big socialite or anything. And I feel like I'm describing a lot of people in IT right now. So I kind of want to make that known that it's kind of a normal journey that everybody's gone through. It's kind of a specific breed of people but going through this certain journey gets you to this place in your life that is usually IT. So
Kind of the bookends are kind of interesting, like you mentioned, social aspects. a lot of us in IT start out awkward in IT, and for us dudes, we're basically ignored by the pretty girls. And then later in life, we're in IT and we're on LinkedIn, and I swear we're the ones ignoring the pretty girls. I'm like, hey, your resume looks great.
Like, sorry,
Wow.
your resume looks amazing.
Yeah, it's usually has nothing to do with what your resume actually says because they're
No.
odd. Anyway,
So I have a
moving on.
question for you, O'Grady.
Yes.
What's the thing when you were growing up that you got in the most trouble for taking apart?
Oh man.
So I have this cat.
Oh god.
Wow. Okay.
I would say honestly it was the family computer. Because those of you who don't know, who are not ancient dinosaurs like us, there was not a personal computer. There was not cell phones. There was not more than one computer in your house. There was one computer if you were lucky. Like you were
Right.
your family's doing all right. You got a computer.
Yeah, I was a teenager when the first real computer popped up.
Yeah. So the one I am talking
In my house.
about was it was a computer that was running Windows 90 95 98. I don't remember. It was early Windows, but it was running
Yeah.
a couple games that we used, word processor, nothing, you know. So obviously I want to see what's inside of it. So started
So
taking it apart and
it's handy.
yeah, well, computers back then aren't as resilient. Well, even computers now aren't very resilient when it comes to taking them apart and putting them back together due to electrostatic
That's true.
and a lot of stuff that can happen in them. And yeah, it all went back together, but not everything worked right. So I wish I had that computer now because I would fix it because now I know everything
Don't
about how
you?
to fix a computer. um,
Yeah.
so yeah, that being said, you know that it's funny because that taking apart of those computers and those electronics, it it really like opened up that avenue of like, oh, there's stuff inside of stuff that like your radio just doesn't make music. Like it has a whole circuit board and tubes and stuff that make it, yeah.
Right.
Even
Yeah,
if you
it's
don't know
amazing.
what they are when you're looking at them, you're still like mesmerized by these little condenser coil, this little radio coils and stuff, and it's like you don't even know what they're doing at that point.
The first time you attach some devices together and suddenly it's a big, like it's
Yeah.
junk. You could attach it and it's a radio and you're hearing things. It's insane.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
Insane. Everyone just has these supercomputers now. Hold on. I'm gonna message my friend on the side of the world. And that, like there's so much stuff it's built on. It's really crazy. As you were, sorry.
Yeah. No, that's fine. The yeah, that's kind of what got me into it. Because as you guys know, I'm assuming you guys know, we've talked about it. I have electronic engineering degrees is my main degree. Electronic engineering and then computer science, and then my software engineering is actually an associate's. So it's my smaller degree is what I do as a living. Um, so you know, I really was big into solving problems of why something wasn't working. Um, you know, as I started getting older and, you know, again, making sense of the components and what did what, then it was more of a, hey, this is broken. I can fix that. Or this is broken. I can at least mess with it to where maybe I can fix it. I have a,
Right.
instead of going from a this is working to this is working, it's like, well, I started going from this is broken or this was, the first things would have been like, this just broke. Because then it was like,
Yeah.
something it's everything's still there except maybe one little piece went wrong. So that was always my first step. Then I moved into this is just completely broken. I can rebuild this whole thing. Take that, start doing it. And
Right.
you know, I bring this up though because it's like give you a background on just how my brain, you know, works. It's not so much about the fact that it was electronics or software or whatever it is or building a shelf. It's there's components that make a greater system, and I want to know about those components. So pushing into my career, I'm like, what am I gonna do? So actually, I met nah, neither one of you know him. He used to work where we used to work before you guys did. But I met him in college. Whenever I right after high school, went and got my software engineering degree. 2 years, it's whatever. No discipline because what high school kid does. But learn real quick that I'm not. Well, I'm sure you did, Lee. You were probably had checklist for your
Yeah, I
mom
knew you
on
would
your
find that
chores
funny.
growing up. Mom, I forgot to do my chores today.
That's me. Anyway,
Yeah.
go ahead. Sorry.
So most of us degenerates don't have discipline in high school. But at the same time, it was like I didn't really have a plan after high school. Like I had no college plans. I didn't think about any of that. And I don't know why. I was just so bored in high school I barely passed it. So it was like, okay, I don't know, I'm just gonna go get a job. Well, that's not a thing. You don't just go get a nice job, or at least back then.
Right.
Nowadays, it's a lot easier actually to get a job without a degree than it was back then. But yeah, so I'm like, all right, went to school for a little bit, and then decided, go join the Marines because that thing I'm missing. Looked around my life.
I
I'm like
remember
my dad, my grandpa. I'm like,
yeah.
they're all doing good, you know.
Did that help with the boredom?
With the boredom, yes, I was not bored for a while. What
Bet
was
not.
they kept me moving. So,
Uh-huh.
but it was cool because like while I was in, I mean, yeah, I went to 2 wars, but in between all of that, I did have a lot of learning and teaching time that where I was learning about something I want to do in my future, which at the time I still was thinking software. And I was able to help others. I was able to teach others what I was learning as a practice of learning more myself. They weren't people that were actually wanting to be developers, but it was practice for me knowing that I understand it enough that I can teach it. So that's what I started doing while I was still in the Marines. And then, once I got out, ended up moving back to St. Louis. And for those who don't know, the military pays for a lot of schooling. And while you're in school, you also get paid to go to school. So
Sweet deal.
yeah, it was pretty nice. I got out, and for 4 years, I didn't have to go to school, or I didn't have to go to work. Or I didn't have to. Okay, let me clarify that I actually did work, but I didn't have to go to work, and I could just go to school. That again brought on the boredom of I'm going to school 3 days a week.
Yeah.
Like this is so stupid. So I ended up obviously getting a job, but yeah. So that like this is where I feel is my first step into like real world IT work. Before this, I've done. We had a company actually right after high school. We made a company called Ironclad Technologies, LLC. No longer a thing, unfortunately. But we made websites and we built servers, and made some money in college for it, and did pretty decent.
Nice.
But
Like business servers or like something for gaming, personal people, like
business servers mostly, and then we also built like personal PCs for people at the time running Windows 90. No, Windows ME, maybe XP.
Windows Millennium.
No, it had XP on it.
Okay.
Yeah, it had.
I mean,
Yeah.
for about 30 years, everything had XP on it, right? Like
Yeah, that's
so
all. Like it was
Windows.
Yeah, this would have been XP time.
Yeah, everyone was like,
Okay.
"We have a new Windows," and no, Microsoft was like, "We have a new Windows," and everyone's like,
Like,
"Nah, XP."
No, you don't. No. And then they're like,
We
all
don't
right,
care.
fine. You cannot use XP anymore. Like, fine.
It still took about 5 years, but yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so that was really all my business experience with it, was building a couple websites, very basic stuff. Really more just kind of practice of the stuff I'm learning in school. So it was like,
Mm-hmm.
company wants a website. Yeah, we made like $2,000 on a couple websites, and for a couple broke college
Nice.
kids, we're like, cool. We didn't. It was just homework essentially.
All right.
Um, but yeah. So after the Marines and after some more schooling, got bored, decided need to get a job, and I worked at a place that did video surveillance software. Yeah, they actually sold the cameras too, but I worked in the IT. I was a systems admin or systems engineer, I think they called it.
Was it the
We made up the
NSA?
title. There's only two of us, so we were making up titles. And I think we ended up with systems engineers. But I mean, all we did was the software side of it was more of like configuration files and very minor tweaks to like visuals and stuff like this. Nothing super deep. Mostly introducing me to more of like how a logging system would work, and we had the backends were not even something that I was actually interacting with physically. They were through a third party softwares, and it was very very high level IT, not real dirty. Um, but again,
Dirty?
it got me still into the IT world of, I was
Yeah.
at that time I was running network cables, hanging cameras as well as doing this stuff. So uh, actually, it's how I learned. That's how I learned all my. Did you guys see the classes that I gave at the last slice?
Nope. Never saw one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anthony, you can still look them up because they're
Oh, okay.
on your website.
No, I've seen them. You did some professional grade
Yes.
classes and various things.
So it was mostly networking,
Mhm.
and they had me teach the networking courses, and they're like, why is Grady teaching networking courses? And they all found out that I worked pretty much as a network engineer for freaking 3 years. But yeah, that's so it was cool though, because it exposed me to that side of IT. Um, chat, you might not know that if you're not in the IT world, a lot of times it's kind of split between usually 2 to 3 major parts of like the data side, and then the development side, and then sometimes you have like the hardware side, depending on how you have everything split up. But it's a lot of times it's a pretty clear definition of like who's data and who's developer. Like, so that introduced me to like the data side, and I honestly thought that was the side I was going to go. After I did this job, I really enjoyed it. It's configuring Cisco routers and you know running the actual cables, and it was really cool. Like, just knowing that I had control of the network and like everything on it and off it was mine was something I was like, this is cool. Like, it's my little domain that I have that I can control and keep safe, keep solid. But yeah, so oh yeah. So yeah, for the most part, when we say IT, just information technology, but the it can mean a lot of things. We talked with Brofish not too long ago on our stream, and we were saying like she essentially is her own IT person. A lot of streamers, you are in a type of IT field. Um,
Yeah.
Social media marketing. A lot of that is IT. It's marketing, but it's also dealing with computers and newer technologies and newer softwares. So yeah, it's a very vague idea. For the most part, though, when we talk about it, it's more of the data side and development side. So the more of the core, what you would think of IT if you think of like um, Office Space, or I don't know what other movies depict IT. IT, isn't that the what's the show? Isn't the show called IT? The
I see
British,
some. Oh my gosh, I'm
the
gonna be
British
kicked
show.
off now.
Uh,
Let's
Why can't I think
see.
of it?
Hilarious. Watched all of it.
Crowd.
Right.
I'd see crowd.
IT crowd.
IT Crowd, yes.
Thank you. I'm like,
That show was hilarious.
Wow.
is it just IT? Yes, IT
We
crowd.
got nerd cards taken away.
Yeah, so if you watch IT Crowd, that literally is like a lot of most of how a lot of us act. Because they show like the different variances of us too. The one
Yeah,
guy that's
not
just
too
like
far off.
hates everybody because he has to fix everything. I've been that guy. So, um, but yeah, it's a very
Austin
it's a
Roy.
lot of different skill sets that fall into there. A lot that you don't think about too, like a project manager or a project owner or product owners, depending on what you call them. They fall into IT as well a lot of times because they're managing the things that IT or developers would be doing. So, but yeah. So that kind of got me to where I was in there, right? And thought I was going to go the data side. Found out later that that just isn't me. But moved on to actually from there to it was back to electronics because there was an opportunity, and I was like, okay, I thought I've always liked electronics. I have a degree in it, and yeah, that job I was repairing Motorola um, emergency pagers, which I'm like, it was
Oh,
like
Emergency pagers.
the ones that police officers and ambulances and all them have that they have to carry around.
yeah.
Very small market, I guess, but like the couple places that do it that's all they did. So it was really cool to work there, and I still think it'd be a really cool job to go to like once a week, maybe, because when you're looking at
Tinker.
you're looking at like 4 circuit boards kind of smashed on top of each other, interlaced
Yeah.
and stuff. So it was always like a puzzle of what's wrong with this, the audio's wrong or the audio's off. Oh, maybe it's the audio knob, but it could also be something else down the line, like a micro resistor. So I'd have to troubleshoot these and walk through the whole circuit boards, figure out what was wrong with them, and then repair them. Loved it. Kept me super occupied, used my brain, and I thought for me those are very important things on a job. Oh yeah. Anything that involves um, a couple extra bucks. I still do that stuff, not PSPs, but I do hard drive recoveries. A lot of people.
I
A
heard
lot
you
of
can get
people kick
Linux running
their.
on a Switch now.
Oh,
Somebody
yeah?
figured out how to do that.
That'd be pretty cool. I could see that being.
I need to figure out how to get Doom on there.
Yeah, I'd say mine. I do hard drive recoveries, but yeah, that's just hit a couple buttons. I just happen to be the one that paid for the software, so I can do it.
Yeah.
It's not difficult.
That's half the battle, right?
Yeah, getting the software licenses. Yes, it is. Yes. Oh, but yeah. So where was I? I was at
Fixing pagers for
fixing pagers. Yes.
Smith.
So fixing pagers, and super liked it because it was, again, used my brain, and
It wasn't
me
boring right
occupied.
away.
Wasn't boring right away until you learn everything about the pagers. Then it's like, hey, I have this issue. Oh, well, it's this. As soon as I didn't have to think about the answers anymore, I left that job. Yeah, I said, so you're not challenging me anymore. I know everything about your pagers. Sorry,
Spoiler alert, you need to be in dev.
Yes. Then they're like, hey, do you want a job that never gives you any satisfaction because you always keep working on what you're doing forever? And I'm like, yes, thank you, finally. So
Sign me up for that.
that's literally how it went. No, it was yeah, I left there because at the time telling my wife, I'm like, it was a bad paycheck. It wasn't, nothing wrong with the job, but um, yeah, if I'm not being challenged to the job, and I feel like this is also something that a lot of IT folk in general, um, or just high achievers, people that aim high, usually have the same. Hold on a second. Sorry, my
Is that IT? Like the, oh, what? You all right?
pop-ups on the side. No, I had like a weird thing that was covering my OBS, so I didn't know where the stream went. I need more monitors. I need at least 2 more.
I'm imagining the like
At least 2 more, huh?
At least 2
7
more.
monitors are up, so there's like 6 in front of you, so you watch your stocks and everything.
Well, so I have the
Yeah.
3, but I need maybe 3 more on top. And then yeah, it'd be good.
Yeah. HN asked, is it IT? I think he was asking about when you said, the job that never ends, you can never know anything. And I responded, no, that's developments. Like when you're a
Yes.
developer, when you're dealing with this stuff, it just is it's always something to learn. No.
Yeah. Yeah, so from there, yeah, I went to join the job or the company, not the job, the company we all worked at. And
Right. You didn't start in dev.
not in IT at all, even.
Yeah, right. All right. Okay.
I was more on the electronic side again. Just came from electronics job. I figured maybe I'll find some more advanced electronics that I can feel challenged again, and keep going. So the place we worked was it had a lot of very advanced electronics. So I was like, cool. It was keeping me occupied. So I learned those all.
A lot of problems to solve.
Yeah, and I love the work I did there. Met some really cool people, and my job there was whenever people called in, I would have to tell
Two are the
them.
coolest.
Well, that's true.
When you said you met some cool people, I pointed to myself.
Oh.
I only hit the camera. That's what's going on.
I was looking down,
You
thinking.
met us.
Yes, that's true.
Derailed as usual. Go ahead.
Derailed as usual. Well, not
You're
quite
welcome.
yet, because this was before I got to IT.
Hmm.
So I had not yet quite
So
met you.
so yeah, he did meet you.
Yes, eventually.
In fact, you probably weren't working there yet.
Neither of you were working there, yeah. And
Agreed.
but yeah, this is their tech was really cool, and loved working on it, and made a lot of advancements in my own knowledge on electronics. And honestly, I learned most of their stuff. But I was saying their job was, or my job was, we'd have people in the field fixing machines, and then they would call me and say, "Hey, I have this problem. What's the answer?" And then I would use my brain and say, "Well, it's this." And at first, super challenging because there was 100 times more equipment. There was so many more circuit boards, so much more that could be going wrong.
The year end, there's more products that come out that work differently.
Yep. And I'm like, this is cool. So like, you're always like being challenged until you're not, because even the new products that come out are not like
The improvements on the last.
they're
one,
they're
so, like,
improvements, but like they're new, but like it's still the same type of basic components that are in there.
Yeah.
A lot of times the same circuit boards. That's how most companies do it. Is they'll build a more advanced thing, but they can still fit on the same circuit board. So you start learning more about it, and then you're like, okay, then you get to that point where people are requesting to talk to you because they're like, he can answer this in like 2 minutes, and I'm like, no, you need to be talking to new guys because they need to be feeling challenged so that they can get better, so that I can get out of here. But they it didn't really happen to where I was given the opportunity to go to IT. I had to force the hand to get me over there. But once I did, then I met you guys. Then it was there.
Okay.
Life
Yeah,
has
so-
the same sense.
It's unfortunately. Um,
Womp womp.
but yeah, so that right there is was my first non-opportunistic leap. I think every other time was I had something in front of me that I knew that I could take. So I knew I can go to a new position. I knew I could, take this other job, or I can, something just came up and I'm like, oh yeah, I like that. Let's go with that. This was the first time that I made a choice for my own career that had the option of jeopardizing my own career. Was moving from a safe, solid place
Mhm.
to IT, when the middle ground was that they did not want me to move from a safe, solid place to IT. They wanted me to stay in that place, which is completely solid for the company because I was very good at it. But so I had to make some moves that very possibly could have gotten me fired. But it happened to work out very well for me that I ended up getting into IT. So, that brings us up to where we all met. And, we had some really cool projects we've done together, SQL migrations and some off the book stuff that I probably broke and you just had to fix. But, that's how it goes.
I'm sure that never happened.
Can you fix this, please? Can you please restore this database?
Think anyone noticed?
Yeah.
Hey, we have like 700 tickets.
Yeah.
Ah,
And they'd be like, "Are you just causing problems so that you can solve those tickets?" I'm like, "That's a great idea, but no."
Once the
no.
database is back up, O'Grady's like, all right,
Close all.
this is a known issue. Just restart. You should be fine.
Yeah.
See, it was Microsoft.
Yes. Yes. That's anybody that's ever worked in the ticketing
AWS,
world,
yeah.
by the way, will know that there's times when something stupid happens or you don't give them the right answer, but you immediately realize you didn't give them the right answer after you click send.
Oops, yeah.
And then they come back with that didn't work, and then you make your wrong answer work so that you don't feel dumb. It happens. But you put a little code in that. What do you mean that doesn't work? It should work fine. But yeah, so at the and then my last company, I was able to be. That's where I started actually growing as a developer. That was my first time being a true developer, and I got put onto Java applications. Did a lot of Java scripting. We did what else we get? Web forms. So a lot of stuff that was older technologies. I was mostly working on existing applications at the time, and
Field work, yeah.
yeah. So it was new features to existing applications, which is a cool place to be because it's a structured application, or it's supposed to be a structured application, and you can inject your code and just be like, oh, I'm just going to put this here and I'm going to put the button for it over here, or whatever you're doing. And
That's been a common theme in this whole story. You're doing more tweaks, right?
yeah, just always wanting to improve something, or break down the code and figure that. Now with code, there's no option
And
of getting bored. So
yeah, instead of taking apart a radio or a vacuum cleaner or whatever, you're taking apart code and figuring out how it works, figuring out how to add more stuff in there.
yeah, and I'm like, now, even if I decided that coding is getting boring, I can be like, okay, well, time to refactor the code. How can I refactor this to make it better? How can I make this more efficient? How can I make this
Or
call cheaper? Like,
there's a new JavaScript framework, right? It's one every other week, so
yeah, yeah, I'm gonna go figure out what's new about it. Or
it's always food themed, like peanut butter and jelly or something.
and Android does that, don't they?
Yeah, Android, at least they used to. All their versions were named after food.
Yeah, because forgot. I don't remember how to look it up. We used to be able to look it up, and they'd always have like I know KitKat had like KitKat was one of their versions. It had a secret in it that if you like click developer like 20 times or something like that, there was a picture of
Yeah,
an
all of them
Android.
did. All of them did.
Yeah.
Like you can
I wonder
go
if they
into a
still do
certain
that.
screen, they do weird stuff.
If
All
anyone
right,
has
now we
an
have to look it
Android in
up.
their
So,
hand,
so
desert
no, I did
names?
not want to donate to Wikipedia. Okay, you ready? Petite Four. I have no idea what that is. Cupcake, donut, eclair, froyo, gingerbread.
Yep.
Now we're up to version 3. Honeycomb, ice cream sandwich,
I remember that.
jelly bean. This is the educational content people show up for.
Then
Key
KitKat.
lime pie.
Oh,
lime
these are
pie.
the Java frameworks?
This is Android.
I swear K was KitKat.
I mean, I have honeycomb.
Is this one
ice
of
cream
those
sandwich.
what is that called? Mandela effect things? Or what's going on?
Yeah, the universe is just combined. Key lime pie, lemon meringue pie.
No, I
macadamia
would have
nut
remembered
cookie.
that because my favorite damn pie is key lime pie. Sorry, I'm looking this up for a different. I'm gonna look
Yeah,
up
look it
if
up.
KitKat
Make-
is a thing.
Yeah, lemon meringue pie, macadamia nut cookie, New York cheesecake, oatmeal cookie. Honestly, these don't sound right to me either, but whatever.
Yeah,
Pistachio.
KitKat was 4.4.
I'm on Android version
These-
history. Oh, we
These are
actually used-
Android versions?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Apple's like
am I-
1. Android's like Apple, just to fuck with them.
yeah. Kit Kat's 4.4. How come it was in the other list?
Yeah, I don't know. Unless maybe it was maybe like
Oh.
4 and then 4.4 was KitKat.
I got it. I was reading the internal code names before they came out. So Key
The
Lime
old
Pie
Nintendo
was
Dolphin.
published- Yes. Key Lime Pie became Kit Kat.
There we go.
Or Lemon Meringue
Okay.
Pie became Lollipop. And then oatmeal cookie was Oreo.
Yep, that makes more sense.
All right. Like I said, this is what people show up for. This is
I mean,
the breaking news that people were aching to know.
they created a KitKat website in the theme of an Apple announcement. Android did?
Quarter
I can
3 is
100%
coming
see
out.
that. I feel like Android's just all trolls. Like, they're just like, how can we mess with Apple? Like, we don't care about profits anymore. Like, how can we just make them mad?
They're just secretly making sure that everyone's running Linux and they have no
Yeah.
idea. That's the secret. The next one's tiramisu. So,
Okay.
all right, we can move on from this. Anyway, as you were
Fine.
saying,
As I was saying, so we were all in IT together at this point. But yeah, so I was learning about, in my off time, learning about newer code bases while working on older code bases. And
this
then
one does.
so from then I went to my current job, and the main advantages or the main moves were for the work from home, and more career progression for myself. I was kind of getting pigeonholed into being very good at what I do, but what I did wasn't something that progressed. So I'm like,
You need new challenges.
Yeah.
That's the pattern, right?
Yeah, so that really was. I was starting to get when you're good at closing tickets and, making features on existing applications, they're going to keep you doing that. And then it starts getting boring or not challenging, we'll say. Because it wasn't ever boring. I still enjoy adding features to old applications, but not as challenging. So now, over challenged a little bit, a little overstressed sometimes. I'd like this happy medium between where I was and where I currently am as far as level of stress and challenge, but that is, I feel like, a good place to be. I'd rather that than to be overshooting how challenged I am. So right now, still working on software development. I'm now a software engineer officially, so that was part of the move as well.
So what do you
But,
specialize in now? Are you still mostly front end or?
No, so I do up until like a month ago, I did very little front end when we started working on this new app, and it needed a front end. So
Oh, okay.
we're like, I guess we're doing the front end. We don't have any front end developers on my team, or no strictly front end developers. We're all kind of full stack, but no one specializes in front end. So we just kind of had to pick it up in his Angular. So I've worked in a little bit of Angular before, back where we all worked, but nothing nothing that I would say I contributed more than maybe some bug fixes. So this was a big challenge, just learning TypeScript and how to make everything work together and just get a functioning application out there. And then these applications that we wrote in Angular, they talk to our backend that's written in C#. So we do .NET. I don't know what number it's on now. The latest
8, 6.
something. But yeah, so that's where I'm at now, and I like I said, it's challenging. It's a lot of work. Really enjoy it. And I feel like at this point, I've talked to my managers about we have career progression talks. Where do you want to be in 10 years? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? And
Did you ever answer that question correctly?
No, you can't answer it right because
no. Every time they've been asked, "Hey, where are you gonna be in 5 years?" I was wrong.
Yeah. It's 5 years ago. If you asked me where I was going to be in 5 years, I would be wrong. Yes. And not to mention, a lot of times, when a manager asks you, "What do you expect to be in 5 years?" it's really difficult to say in your position, because then you hope that in 5 years they don't want to be in their position, because in 5 years I probably will be. So
5 years, I want your job.
Yeah. So hopefully in 5 years, they also have plans to move up or, progress in their career.
Yeah.
So it's always difficult to answer that, because it's kind of what your plan is a lot of times, is to take the job of the person in front of you while they take the person in front of them, and then the higher person's retiring, so they move out. Like everybody just bumps up a little.
Well, it's hard though, 'cause it's a pyramid. So there's multiple people wanting to move up. In theory.
Some of those people move out to other places, and that helps the movement.
Well,
some of those people just don't deserve to move up. So there's also that. Anthony, you just moved up. But yeah, I mean, that's getting asked that question. It's like, all right, that's fine, but like you said, we don't really know our plan in 5 years. That's not
really.
I can't track that. I mean, I can have a kind of an idea of where I want to be, and I think maybe the further you get into your career, it might be easier. Like, Lee, it might be easier for you to know where you're going to be in 5 years.
I bet Lee disagrees.
Maybe, or maybe not even how for. I'm thinking like.
I think it's a good way to find out how.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a good way to get people to talk about, and figure out how they think, right?
I mean, I've talked to people that say in 5 years, I just want to be I still want to be a developer. I just want to be paid more. Oh, okay. Well, that's a goal. Yeah. I think with me and my plans are, and this is kind of what I've told management, I've told everybody, is that I don't know if I want to continue being a software developer forever. I think I want to move into more of a teaching role, or I don't know, some kind of mentorship programs that a lot of places offer, stuff like that, and an onboarding role, possibly something like there's different. A lot of companies have different things. Yeah, pretty much. So, like you said earlier, we went from being just not the most social elite people to now in our fields having any bit of socialness, I guess you want to call it socialness. It really makes you more of a key person that people want to talk to. A lot of the IT industry, and it's no secret, is a very introverted industry. It's difficult to find people that know how to talk to people effectively in our field without making the other people feel dumb. And 9 times out of 10, when I see this happen, it's not done on purpose. When an IT person is making someone not in IT feel dumb, it's on accidents because they're just explaining what they know, and the other person is blank-eyed staring at them, and they're not picking up on the social cues, saying, "Can you dumb it down a little?" Like, I've been that
This
person
is
while
not
senior
the-
developers are explaining things. I'm like,
Yep.
I don't know what you're saying. So yeah, it's not many people in IT or jump on podcasts like this and just hang out and try to talk to new people.
That's
not
true.
not saying that to brag or anything or say that we're whatever. It's just one of those. It's a fact. Most of our industry is very introverted. So I feel like being a more extroverted type, it would be wasted that if I don't put it into use helping others, like being able to teach IT effectively.
Yeah, you want to lean into your strengths, and if you've
Yeah.
discovered that you now have a new strength, you want to lean into that, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like it's always something that we've kind of dealt with. Like that's why I was doing these networking videos at our last company, because they found out, oh, you can network and talk to people, and actually have people ask you questions and you
Network.
can answer them. Yeah,
Talk to people.
yeah. Which I mean, and this stuff can be learned. Like personalities, there are personalities, and you can be an introverted personality, but you can also have a professional extroverted personality that you put on as a facade
Huh.
sometimes. There's classes there's books about how to, I mean, essentially fake it till you make it kind of books that, human psychology, how to deal with people, how to read people
How to
better,
deal with people.
how to deal with them, put those concrete boots on them. Wait, it's not an IT, wrong job.
Night, everybody.
Yeah, no. So, but for real advice, like if you do, yeah. So fake it till you make it. I mean, I don't know if you've ever heard that, but it's a lot of us in IT, then it goes back to a lot of us feeling that imposter syndrome of we feel we don't belong where we are, either professionally or socially or whatever it is. We feel like we're the imposter. We feel like everyone's going to call us out at some point and just be like, what are you doing here? You're not that smart. It's in everybody's brain that has any kind of job that requires, I don't know what you call it. I don't want to say education because it doesn't actually require true education, but it requires a skill base. Anything where a skill base is valued, you're going to have feelings of imposter syndrome within the field. And when we say fake it till you make it, it's more of a know that you kind of belong there, but even if you feel like you don't, then just keep pretending like you do, and you're going to push through. You're going to make breakthroughs that help you realize you do belong there. And then eventually, everyone's coming up to you with the questions, and you realize, oh, I must belong here because people are asking me questions, and I know the answers and they don't. So I feel like that's like the make it part. Yeah, so that's about where I was where I'm at now. So yeah, I don't know.
I think another aspect of fake it till you make it is like if you wait until you feel ready, you might never be ready,
Oh yeah, yeah,
right? So if you kind of dive in and go, okay, yeah, I don't think I got all this, and you dig in, you might realize you do, right?
Mhm.
And like you said, imposter syndrome. If you let it hold you back, you'll never grow. So
yeah. No, 100%. That's like I said, that move, that one move I made to get into IT. That was a
was tough.
very fake it till you make it move because I was not actually ready to be in IT in my brain, and I 100% thought I was about to ruin my career by moving from electronics into a field that I have not been into. But
Would you say your most recent change was like that too? I mean,
It's same.
Did you feel?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is very overwhelming change. It's a new code base, new languages that I'm writing in.
And it turns out you knew stuff they didn't know.
Yeah, there's definitely
I'll
things
brag
that
for you.
yeah. Yeah, they
But you
there's
didn't know that going in.
no. Same with the sequel skills between most of the developers there are very lacking, or most developers in general. And I got you guys to thank for that because I was always asking you questions and you guys actually answered them. So thank you. But,
It's always fun to get on a call and be like, all right, we're gonna do something. You're like, how do I do this hard thing? And then we figure it out. And I'm like, cool. Now
Yeah.
that's a tool to develop, right?
Yeah, that's yeah. I'd have I remember Anthony. I'd always go to you, be like, "Hey, I have the store procedure. It's taking too long. How can we refactor this to not do that?" You give you some tricks, and be like,
Yeah.
"Okay, done."
We're gonna delete half of it.
God, there were so many bad things that happened in certain store procedures that I'm just like, "How do I make this faster?" And they were like, "Just don't do all of that." Yeah.
Sometimes you ask, like, what are we trying to do? And
Yeah.
like, can we just rebuild it in less time than it would take to make it better?
Or we have a view of that, right?
Yeah.
Syntax there,
We
Steven.
use
Thank you
weight
for
training.
the follow.
Hey, thanks for the follow. Nice.
Love the name, by the way.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
We were talking the other day about if someone named their kid Drop Table. What was it? It was
Bobby tables.
yeah, and it had like the
Bobby tables.
yeah, Bobby Drop Tables. Yeah,
We call them Bobby tables.
Mm-hmm. And it was like we were wondering like what would actually be the ratifications of that or the repercussions of that like
Well, I mean,
legally there's no problem with naming a child that, right? So
can I share that in the chat? If I put a URL in the chat, we'll be okay.
you should be good as a admin. Yeah.
Okay.
I was at the yeah.
Oh, I have a question for you.
Yes.
At what point did it start to feel like you belonged?
I'll let you know.
Yeah.
I'll let you know.
I
Wow. Okay.
No,
right.
I feel like it's gotten a lot better. I mean, there's a reason that I'm very passionate about imposter syndrome, and as much as I know it and I identify it, and I know it's a real thing with me, it's still every day. When I'm talking to people, the thing is when developers talk to other developers, it's usually because I have a question. So most developers I talk to are telling me things that I don't know because I'm asking them a question. So they have to be telling me something I don't know, or else I wouldn't ask them. So when you do that a lot, you feel like all you hear from other people is things you don't know already. So I'm like, man, my baseline must be really low because everybody knows these things I don't know. When in reality, this developer might know this one extra thing. This developer might know this one extra thing. I might know things that they don't.
Yeah.
The human brain is weird. It's
so I have a follow-up question about that. And it relates to the story, part of my story I told last week.
Yeah.
So when you ask developer, a coworker, your fellow IT mate, if we were in Australia, a question,
maybe an IT mate.
Yes, there we go. Yeah, I mean, do you have this scenario where they say, okay, did you try this? And you say yes. Did you try this? And you say yes.
Mm-hmm.
Did you try this? And you say yes.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so to me, this means good things for you, O'Grady, because you're already doing the things,
that they
the primary
would,
things
yeah,
that you need to do to solve the problem.
Oh,
and
yeah.
the reason you're having to go to this person or ask someone else is you're trying to solve like a very specific thing that isn't on the internet because it's so specific.
Hate that.
And you're hoping someone else has hit the same problem.
Oh yeah, no, 100%.
You go to Stack Overflow and someone did ask this. Oh, it was you.
Yeah. Or I found that someone asked this. 0 answers.
Yeah, that sucks.
I'll let you know.
So actually, that's an opportunity
Yeah.
because I started running into that, and then I realized, wait a minute, if I figured this out, I could answer it. And that's that's what I did. Yeah,
Yeah.
look, I want Stack Overflow.
Yeah.
I'm a real boy.
And honestly, I will say, I mean, I know I do belong in IT now. I do feel that, and it has gone to the point where, and I think that was actually this last transition that made that more secure or more solidified for me. The fact that not only did I move an intermove in a company, because I feel like that was me kind of getting into IT, whereas now there's a company that specifically picked me based on my resume and my talking to them to fill an IT position.
Mhm.
And that's, I feel like, was my first time when I was like, okay, yeah, no, they picked me for IT. It wasn't an inter office move. It was, you have all your choices. Still went with me. So that was my pat on the back. But yeah. What do you guys think? I guess I won't ask Anthony yet because he's next week. But Lee, what about you? When do you think was your first? We talked about your story last week. I don't remember if you mentioned when you first felt like you belonged in IT.
I think it was probably several jobs ago at so I had my first
Lee's
DB.
like, when I turned 3 and I built my first my first database.
Yeah, no.
He's like, yeah, the 70s are weird.
Sorry, Lee, go ahead.
All right, so
moving on.
I mean, I was probably I'm trying to think about this. I mean, I was probably in years 6, 7, 8, year 8. Which sounds maybe terrifying to some people who might be listening or in Discord, but I think that it took me a while to realize how far I had come. And what really kind of solidified that for me was making several job moves and realizing that I was still okay. I still knew what I was doing, even though I had left behind all of this job specific knowledge that I had accumulated at my first real IT job. And I think of that was when I was like, I might have a long-term career here. I feel like I can do this. Is there still plenty for me to learn? Absolutely. Um, but the big turning point was when I was interacting with a third party company and I would give them something and they would ask me, did you do this? Did you do this? Did you do this? And I would say, yes, I did all those things. And these are people who had twice the experience I did.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on the same troubleshooting path that they would have done. I was like, well, maybe I might know more than I think I do. It's kind of helped boost my confidence. So that's where that question came from for you about when you were talking about talking to devs and they always seem to tell me stuff I don't know. I'm like, well, yes, at the end of the conversation, maybe, but at the beginning, they were probably affirming that you had already done all the right things.
No, that's true, and that's a good good way to think about it as I approach future conversations as well. Because I mean, it's the same thing I guess I would do to someone if they said, "Hey, this call isn't working" or whatever we have, without getting too job specific. But you'd go over the basics and then make sure that anything I would do would be obviously top of my head. Like, here's what you do, this, this, and this. And then if not, a lot of that can be more tribal knowledge or, like you said, job specific knowledge that sometimes it's like, oh, you're just not all the way up to par on the business logic. And it's like, yeah, okay, well, I guess that's not really a fault of my own until I know the business logic. Because sometimes, I mean, for those who don't know, business logic is very company specific logic that goes into everything, anywhere.
That's why a lot of companies still like to try to get developers who've worked in their industry. So the business logic's somewhat similar because sometimes even words don't mean the same thing when you go from place to place, right?
Yep. Yeah, there's sometimes it's super specific knowledge, and sometimes it's like you said, field specific or industry specific.
What is a USB? Sorry, internet, that's inside joke actually. But
It's Universal Serial Bus. What are you talking about?
oh yeah, that's exactly what I mean.
It's not inside at all. Yes, stuff like that is very specific to certain industries or even companies, and yeah, it's just how it goes sometimes, I guess. But it's one of those. I guess if you're gonna make a move in IT, do you feel like it would be more comfortable to stay in the same type of industry you're in or your company's in, or do you think that you would want to move outside of that? Like if you're switching a job, do you feel like you would be safer, or do you feel like it would be you'd want to push outside of what you know? Either of you.
Yeah, I think I mentioned something to Anthony here recently. I might be getting a little bored with my current role.
Which is
Not
like
that there's
super
nothing left to
interesting.
learn, but there's a lot of the same stuff for years.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I'm ready. I would love to learn like MySQL or PostgreSQL, for example.
Cockroach
Um,
TV.
or
Mongo.
what?
Cockroach TV. Mongo's actually really popular. Mongo's really popular. Lots of cockroach TV. Anyway, it's not
Listen,
interesting.
y'all are asking me to like jump off the cliff. I just want to
I'm
go.
not. I'm not.
MongoDB compared to where I'm at? Are you kidding me? Okay, sorry. Um,
Got it.
I feel some hate. Woo.
I'm ready to like
Getting
experiment, but I'm
warm.
not ready to like.
Keep going. It feels good. It's nice and warm. But yeah, you want to see some other databases, relational databases, because you live in a relational space,
Yes.
and you're like, I don't. You don't want to like totally switch and like become a plumber. Well, sometimes you do, but that's
You know,
Right,
I've
or
seen it
Or a
happen.
dishwasher,
dishwasher. Yeah.
which we've talked about.
Yes.
Yeah,
100%.
so the inside joke there is when on really bad days for me, I would joke with Anthony that I just need to go find a dishwasher job because at least I know I can do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think to Anthony's point, I would probably try to stay with something that's within arm's reach of relational database world. You know, and do that. I'm interested, I can maybe branch out into something involving automation with PowerShell. That could be pretty interesting. But yeah, that's me.
I wonder if I'm super curious. If you find out, let me know if MySQL and Postgres have much of a PowerShell SQL Server does. Kind of wonder about that. Super interesting. Real quick housekeeping, if you guys don't mind. I feel like it's getting to the point where it's like almost every other, maybe every third stream, we get a whole bunch of new faces, and it's starting to feel really good. Just want to give a shout out to all the new people that joined. We got a new
Yeah.
follower. I know O'Grady has already hollered at him, or him or her. I don't know. It's Steven. I don't know. Maybe Syntech there, Steven. But we're getting all these extra people, these new names we don't normally see coming in and out, following. Glad to see you guys, gals, peoples. Look us up on Discord, join in. The conversations there. We would love to have the conversations even when we're not streaming.
Yep.
And if you missed an episode, about 2 weeks after every episode, that it ends up on YouTube. So you can find it there. So I just want to holler at everybody. And it's super awesome to see new faces and everything. So engage with us, talk with us. We love it. As you were team. Sorry.
No, 100%. I agree. We, I mean, that's why we're doing this. We kind of, for those who don't know, we're actually having these calls frequently of just hanging out and talking about what's going on and stuff in tech, and we're like, we need to. I don't know how it started. I think we were just joking, and we're like, we should do this on a podcast or something. And they were like,
yeah,
yeah, we could do that, and then we just kind of started doing it. So it's a very no huge structures on this channel. We're just people messing around and talking to chat. Like that's why we're here though, is so that we can share this stuff with you. Yeah, it's any more IT people that I can bring into this world. Heck yeah,
Or not even, they don't have to be IT. Like if you're in the chat and you're
I mean,
IT
bring
curious
people
or, like, tangential.
bring people into the IT world is what I mean. Like we're bringing them into our world, and they can listen about the headaches along with the joys. So, but yeah, so I mean, we can if you want to do some closing notes here. I have someone to raid. We're gonna raid Mark Stockley. He's doing a 12-hour stream. He does Pokemon shiny hunting. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but it's a whole thing. It's super cool. But every X
Never heard of Pokemon.
shut up. The shiny hunting though is cool. It's
Yeah.
I like it for the mathematical version or the mathematics of it, because there's
Okay, you got my attention.
well, there's a lot of different things that determine the percentage of the odds of catching said shiny, and how many is full odds is 1700 might be full,
shiny.
yeah. And then once you find it after 2000 attempts, it's pretty rewarding, because then you did something repeatedly until it changed. It's the opposite of insanity. Wait, it is insanity.
So yeah,
you keep doing the
genius
same
basically
thing.
is insanity, and then finally it changes. And so
Yes.
So
Yes. So you start off doing the same thing, expecting a different result, until the result actually is different. That's a weird thing to look at way like that. Okay. But yeah, so we're gonna raid him. Anthony, you want to put some closing notes up, or?
Oh, absolutely. So yeah, like I already said, thank you everyone for joining. We've decided to kind of put ourselves out there and talk about our history, right? It goes good with I feel like it goes good with the imposter syndrome, because you end up meeting people, whether if you're not IT, you meet the IT people, or you enter IT and you think everyone just had this, they were already geniuses, like TV portrays hackers and coders.
Yeah.
And then they do some schooling and they made a Facebook or Bookface or a Twitter or Toctic,
Or
and then they're like,
MySpace with
I'm
a
gonna work with something.
sweet HTML background.
Yeah, don't be talking smack about MySpace. You still keep your space in your face. I'll keep my space in my face.
Is MySpace even still a thing?
Yeah, I think
Don't
it's a music thing
know.
now. I think music
Oh.
industry pumps some money into it.
Actually, I will say
2-in-1
that
odds is
that was like an intro to programming for a lot of people too.
It's
Very
true.
basic, but
It's HTML programming. Search your feelings.
yes. You know what? No, it is. Because
Andrew,
yeah. No, it did. It is. It's not deep level programming, but HTML I think is cool because it displays what you're trying to do. Like, I don't know. A lot of people hate on it, but I think it's something that is a necessity to know. Like if you're in
absolutely, I'm trolling.
there are people that have very strong opinions on that. Yeah, if you put what languages you know on your resume as a software engineer and HTML's on there, there will be strong opinions. Unfortunately.
Yeah, it's true.
But
or you better be able to bring out the trivia, right? Like there's probably like 12 people up there who can legitimately put HTML in there, and then when they're asked to be like, well, I helped found it, right? I was part of the standardization committee.
I'm the H. I don't know if you know that.
My name's Mark. I'm the M in HTML.
Yeah, it's yeah, that's about right. All right, well, let's get this raid going.
Do it.
And
so.
I'm O'Grady.
The red shirt survived.
The red shirt survived.
Yeah.
Oh wait, hold on. Oh, I lost it.
I don't like the red shirt survived, followed by wait, hold on.
I don't know where it went. I had the
is one of us gonna kill over?
Well, remember I had that blue lightning. I don't know where it went.
Oh yes, the blue
for
lightning.
Next week. Yeah.
Do it.
So I am O'Grady. Call me Grady. Call me whatever. We got Anthony.
And I'm Lee Markham.
And check us out on our Discords, on our Twitter, and everywhere else you can find us. And we will catch you next week. Hopefully, same time. We try to stick with 7 Central. Sometimes it changes. We will update the Twitters if we're going to cancel or delay too bad. So, all right. I will. I guess we'll catch you all next week.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.